What's the, I guess, you know, you were born in what year?
1903.
1903. So that was the year the Wright brothers
Yes,
started
I
flying,
believe
wasn't
it. Yeah, right, right.
That's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
What's the earliest thing you can remember? What's the first thing you remember? I mean, so some people have specific memories of one particular thing. What's the...
Well, let me see. I don't know. Really, help me, Jackie.
I wasn't there.
Well, I mean, just something, you know,
Do you
maybe
remember, like, anything from kindergarten? Did you go to kindergarten?
Yes, I
In where?
did. District 75. It was a country school where all the kids, and we had 8 different classes, you know, first, second, third, fourth grade, like that.
In one school?
Yes,
But
yes.
that was in where? Where was that?
That was in District 75,
Yeah.
Green Valley.
Green Valley, Minnesota?
Yes, yes. Well, it's, they called it the school, Green Valley,
Yeah.
but it was, you know, we lived between Pine City and Baroon
Okay.
on the hill there, Browns Hill.
So, but was there such thing as kindergarten before first grade?
Well,
Like we have preschool and kindergarten?
not really, not so much, you know. You started, and then that was first grade, and that was it.
how many other kids were in your class? Like if you were in the first grade, were there, how many other kids were also in the first grade with you?
Well, about 8 or so. It was always quite a class, you know.
Do you remember any of them?
Oh, yes, but most of them are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, well, what else?
Don't feel pressured. Like I say, it's really it's no
Okay.
big deal.
Well,
How about your father and your mother? What did your dad do?
well, Dad was a farmer, but I was going to say too, though, they didn't speak the American or the English language as well as, you know, they understood it, but they didn't want to talk. And so we, of course, talked Czech at home. And when we went to school, it was kind of the other children didn't talk. Well,
English? No.
Did they make fun of you, or because you didn't know English?
no, they didn't. Kids weren't so mean those days. They were good kids, and but it was kind of, what was I going to say? Well, every class, you know, had quite a few children in it, and oh dear.
How about
Well, I suppose there were a lot of kids that didn't really know English. Because there were a lot of
That's
kids
true.
whose
That's
parents-
true. That's true. Everybody
They spoke a
talked
different language?
Czech at home, yes, and all the neighbors did, you know, too. And
Because it was a big Czech community.
right.
so your dad came over from Czechoslovakia?
Yes, and mother.
And how old?
And
How long
Fred's.
before you were born?
Well, that was a couple of years or so. It was around 1901 or something like that, or 1900. I don't exactly remember, but
Did he ever tell you like why? What
oh
made him come
yes,
over? What?
yes, it was really, I would say, freedom. You know, of everything. There wasn't all that. And see, if you were a farmer in Czechoslovakia, well, your children would have to stay in that class too. You know, they wouldn't.
They could never be anything but a farmer.
No, they couldn't get higher. Like, for instance, attorney or doctor or something. You know, that would have to stay there. Not even a teacher, I don't believe. You know, that they could.
So did his family think he was just crazy?
No way, because they all did the same thing. They all
They came
came
after,
over.
right?
No, they came before.
They came before
The
him?
brothers did.
Okay.
Yeah, he
And
had,
then somebody brought your grandpa.
oh, that was the great-grandpa, or well, my grandpa.
Your grandpa, yeah.
That would have been my grandpa.
Somebody brought him over, didn't they? Or?
I think, Yes, yes. He came with, I think with Pa, with Dad and Mother and Francis, and I think that's what. And one of his sisters came with Dad.
What? No.
Francis.
Had your grandmother
Fanny.
already passed away? His
Oh
wife.
yes,
His wife
yes.
was already passed. She was already dead.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, she is buried in Czechoslovakia.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
So they came over and didn't speak a word of English. They
No,
had moved to a country where they spoke
That's
none of
right.
the language.
You're
Did they-
right,
Did they say
right.
that was difficult?
You know something? They never complained. They never said yes or no or anything with, having it rough here. They never complained. And I thought that was something, because here we are complaining and have nothing to complain about.
And they were, let's see, you said today they were 20 and your mom was 20 and your dad was 26 when they came.
Something, yes, right. That's the, And, well,
So there's 10 kids. You name them all?
pardon?
Can you name them all in order?
Oh, sure.
Let's hear it.
Francis, me, Mary, Joe, and Charlie, Henry, and Frank, and Augustine. Quite a name.
Otherwise known as Gus, right?
Gus, yeah, right. That's what we call him. And of course there was Agnes, and Mildred, and Carolyn.
Wow.
And what about
10 kids. That's a lot of kids. You had your kid out a baseball team. 10
Yeah,
kids.
isn't that the truth?
And
Yeah, right.
What was it like
Oh, it is
to have
wonderful.
10 kids? I mean, that's a lot of.
I know it, but we had our own fun. It used to be just a lot of fun. We would, well, the girls would always want to dance, learn the dances that they danced around there. So we got an old,
record player?
yes, and boy did we dance.
And you at least each, because weren't there 5 girls and 5 boys?
Yes,
So you each had a partner.
that's right.
You made
But
the boys dance, huh?
well, they were more shy, but they were glad to learn a little bit when
Sure.
everybody was dancing out there, and so they did what we asked them to do.
And what about Rose? No.
Oh yeah, she was Henry's
Twin?
yes, his twin, and she died when she was about 6 weeks old, and I don't know, to this day I think it was one of those crib deaths or something. Just passed away, and yeah, I know, it was very sad. And the thing, poor Henry, he never cried after that. They'd always cry together, when they wanted something, and then they didn't.
So he knew, huh?
Yeah, right.
How old were you when this happened?
I was, I think, around 6, 7.
Do you remember it?
I remember that. I remember quite a few things when, we were younger, how the folks had it really hard, it was. But they survived, and they were happy, and they didn't complain, so.
Well, when he came over, I mean, what was his intention, to be a farmer, or did he want to? Did he know? Did he want to do something else?
Well, he thought that was about the only thing he could tackle, at that time. No, he would have, I'm sure, could have got something else in Europe, but they were kind of reluctant always to give a farmer. I think Dad was a farmer in Czechoslovakia too, and they were kind of reluctant to have him. What would
Learn
I?
anything more? Or?
Yeah, to go out of their whatever they were doing, and What was I going to say? I thought of it and then I forget. What did I say? What did I want to say?
You were
Well, don't
talking-
worry about it.
You were talking about him wanting to be something else, something other than a farmer.
Oh, yes, yes, he did. And he was something, what was it, in the army?
You said he was in the military. Oh, no.
Yeah, something in the military. I don't know. But you know, it was the strangest thing. Poor Dad, he would have loved to talk about it, but we always said, oh, yeah. We don't care about, what happened there or something. We were mean.
Well, I think all kids are that way. I think
You
I've said
think
that
so?
with my father. I've said the same things with my father, and now I'd love to hear those stories.
Isn't that the truth?
But
yeah.
as a kid, you don't want to hear that. Kind of
That's
thing.
right. That's
How about
true.
the farm itself? We're so used to now. We have
Oh,
running
well,
water and everything.
yeah.
What was it like? Did you have running water? Did you have electricity? What did you have on the
Oh,
farm?
we didn't have no electricity and no water, running water, and none of that. But we had to, and wood, we had to chop it and split it and saw it and all that. And, that too was a very big chore because, in the summertime and fall, he would be so busy with the farm work. And then when, it was really so cold out there, and it seems like winters were colder than they are now, and he would freeze, poor thing, he had a mustache, and he would have icicles all over, poor thing, chopping the wood and getting it in the house. And I remember him coming in so often, he'd get a little pile and then he would bring it in so we'd have plenty there and to keep warm. And it was, well, kind of in a way sad, but I don't know. At that time we were very happy, all of us.
How was getting water in the winter?
Winter time, well, there for a while on Browns Hill, when we lived near that 75 school, they walked to get it for quite a ways. It could have been at least a half a mile, and then they'd have 2 pails carrying them.
Did you carry it all that way in? You mean you didn't have anything in your house even that you could?
No way, no, we didn't.
Wow.
Not in that house. Yeah. But they worked so hard and really they come out of it good. They really did. Dad got all the boys started and, well, there's another thing, that schooling, we didn't get a chance to get, too much of that. But he, see to it that they got like a start for a farm, and but we didn't have to do that. We could have sent them to school, but for some reason I guess they just didn't think of that, Right, I don't know why we didn't.
How many, so all the kids went to school? Did anybody go to college?
No, that's it. We're talking about college. They did not go. No. They were glad they got through the 8th and through the
They go high school?
high school.
Everybody went to high school?
Little bit. Yeah, not all of us.
No.
No.
Did you go to high school?
No.
You did?
No.
8th grade was it?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what would like a normal day? I mean, when you were a kid, did you have chores that you had to do?
Oh,
to
yes.
help out?
When we came home from school, chores were waiting.
What kind of things would you have to do?
Oh, we'd have to bring in the wood for the heater and for the cook stove. We'd have to bring in the water. We'd go and pick the eggs in the chicken coop, and we would help the folks after we got older to milk the cattle, the cows, and all. And then too we had to, you see, it was a farm that, well, everything was there. The pigs, we had to feed those. And of course, Dad usually did that. He used to cook in a big, one of those big jars that you see nowadays, where you know, people put plants in them and flowers, you know. They used to cook, yeah. Yeah, they used to cook, what is that? Rutabagas for the pigs. And,
Pigs ate rutabagas?
yeah, and potatoes and things like that.
So you had chickens and pigs.
Yes.
And cows.
Yes.
You had to.
And we had ducks and geese. Then we made feathers, you strip the feathers, you know. And we would do that with the neighbors. Go over there, and when they needed pillows, we stripped the feathers there, and then they'd come to our place. That was in wintertime and in the evenings. See, there was no radio or anything, and television or something. That magazines were just coming to life.
Well, you made your own fun.
Yeah, that's right. We did.
Do you remember when you first heard the radio?
Oh yes, my brothers, poor kids. They were working at South St. Paul, where the packing companies were, you know, like Swifts and Armors and Cadave and all them, and Wilsons, and they made a little money, and so they bought the folks for Christmas radio. And goodness, they didn't tell us anything about it. And so when we came in, Dad and I, by that time, were married, and then they turned it on. And boy, that was really a surprise. I am surprised yet. Yeah.
I bet.
Oh, Mother and Dad,
Yeah.
oh, they were just dumbfounded, you know. They just didn't know what to say.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did they have it on then a lot after that?
Oh, Grandpa listened quite a bit. He had it kind of close by his place by the table, and then he was reading the paper always. Yeah.
So your grandpa lived with you?
He.
Did your grandpa?
Oh no. That's when we came out there. You know, to visit them
Oh, okay.
for Christmas. Then we usually went to the midnight mass at Baroon, and
But when you were little, your grandpa from Czechoslovakia, your grandpa,
yes. Oh
you
yeah.
were from Czechoslovakia, did he live with you guys when you were all little?
Well, he came over to visit. He was with the other uncle.
He lived with the other uncle.
Yes, and he'd come over and stay a while when he did come, you know, and poor thing, I think it was too much for him.
All the kids?
No, I don't think the kids as much as all that work, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
To anybody.
Yeah, right. And you know, with 10 children, without any, things that you're supposed to have when you, it was hard work. They worked hard. But you know, they never complained. I could say that I've never heard them complain. Poor things. Poor things.
Poor things.
You know that.
Rich things.
Yeah.
You did, none of the, no one was old enough of the boys or anyone to be involved in the First World War, right?
Well, I think, First World War, no one was old enough, no. I know Frances and I were the oldest, and I think I was 14 and she was 15. Yeah. And of course what happened then is the boys, as they grew up, they never went to any, they weren't called for any duty.
Well, they would have missed, by the time the Second World War came around, they were probably much older that they would.
That's right, and they were farming, that was one thing, right. Yes, to feed the people.
Do you remember much about the First World War? Was there hardship? Like, the Depression, or no?
Well, it really wasn't that bad, but everybody, everywhere's school, everybody in school, we all were knitting something, boots, or I mean not boots, but socks and something, and washcloths even, and you know, out of that, what you call it, they did, I don't know, and sweaters, and you know that in the evening, Mother found time yet to help us. We were all supposed to do that at school, you know, and we'd bring it home and we would work on it, and she would help us then get the heels in and all.
Did it seem an awfully long ways away at that time? I mean,
It did. It did. We thought we were a long ways from everyone. But you know, all those neighbors, and they were so good. Gee, they help you with everything. I know Dad got sick there in the summertime. He had some boils or something on his face, and it was causing him quite a bit of pain. And the poor thing, he, well, couldn't do a thing. And all the neighbors, like this, where he's lived now, or lived, the Heath, and the Hubermans, and Holidays, Tim Paynes, and Van Horns, Pochtas, Novies, all those. They'd come over and they'd bring the wood, you know, pick it up in the pasture or whatever, you know, the dry, or what you call. And really everybody was so kind those days that it was good to be alive. Yes.
how old were you when you, well, look up, I guess, when did your family first own a car? Do you remember that at all? Or
Oh yes, my brother Henry was 12 years old. In those days there was no limit to just so you can drive it, you know. You didn't have to have a, you know, yeah, right. And so I remember him driving it, and oh dear, we thought we had the world by the tail, all of us.
When would that have been? What year do you have any idea?
Well, I was working in Shalene's or the Fair Store, one or the other, and
If Henry was 12, how much younger is Henry than you?
let's see, 12. About 6, 7, or
So it would have been
so.
about 1920, 1921. Something.
Right, something like
Do
that.
you remember the car? What was it? Do you remember
Oh, it was a Ford.
Let me guess, a Model T.
Yeah,
Or a Model A, probably.
yeah, right.
Huh.
Oh,
So you worked in they were like country stores, or what were these two places you just mentioned where you worked?
yes, that was at the Fair Store.
Fair?
Yes, that was on the main street, and then Shalene's, that was by the creamery there across the tracks. I worked in both of them, you know.
At the same time? I mean,
No,
one of them.
I quit.
So they were just like a general store?
Yes, that's the way they all were.
And tell us about which one were you working at when you met Grandpa?
That was at Shalene's.
At Shalene?
Yes.
Tell us the story.
Oh, yes, poor guy. He came in there, wanted some big socks for his fat Aunt Sophie. Oh dear, poor guy. And he was kind of shy about that, you know, and of course I didn't know anything about I don't think I knew her at that time, so I didn't know, and I was showing him the socks, and he thought that pair would be the size to get, so we did, and we struck it right.
Well, how did he ask you to a dance or something? How did you?
Oh yes, then he'd come into the store again, and then we would go dancing, and it used to be fun. It was very, very simple, but very much fun. And I don't know, people were so good that I kind of even miss that, you know.
What was your first date? Do you remember your first date with him?
Well,
Weren't you at a dance asked you to dance?
Oh yes, oh yes, yes. But that was a time when he went there by himself.
Yeah, and you were
so,
girls.
yes, and then I guess I went home with him. And then, of course, from that time on, we kind of dated until it turned serious.
And how did he ask you to marry him?
Oh, he was driving the Ford along and looking at me, and then he said, well, how about if we should get married next, or in June, or something like that. And I said, oh, and I was too bashful to, say anything else. And I says, well, whatever you think. And he says, yeah, that'll be Tuesday, he said. He already said the date, 29th. He had it all figured out. Rascal.
He knew you'd say yes.
I
It
suppose.
doesn't sound like he gave you much choice in the matter.
Right. Well, I guess I don't know what else a person would have done, when you,
Well, you obviously chose well. You were married how many years?
yes,
63?
63.
That's it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, he was a very good person, but sometimes he had a kind of he had a little problem, but it wasn't bad. He'd like to exaggerate things and make them so huge that, golly, well, he liked to kind of, so people would get a kick out of it, or something, and then sometimes he got carried away. Oh, dear.
So what year did you get married? What year?
1926, in
1926.
June
29th.
29th, right.
Remember the church and the
Oh,
party
yes,
afterwards?
yes,
Tell us about that.
at Pine City, and then we went out to the farm, and they had hams they, bought, and they cooked in those big, what do they call those? Oh, you wouldn't know. What?
Are they like smoked hams?
Yes, but you see, they put them in those wash.
Wash,
Like a wash tub?
like a wash tub?
Those, yeah, they were kind of narrower, and oh dear,
Whatever.
I can't think of the word. Yeah, and they had cooked them in there. It wasn't for washing though. Mother always just heated water in there, for the laundry. And if you kind of can see what I mean. Didn't you have anything like that?
I'm not that old.
No.
I'm older than Jackie.
No, but I just kind of figured that you might remember something.
I think I'm not sure I think I know what you mean, but I don't know what to call it either.
I can't think of it. And anyway, that, well, what was I going to say?
We were talking about the wedding.
Your
So-
reception.
Oh,
at the
yes,
farm.
yes, that's right. Then we had all the relatives from Nick's side. They were around there, quite a few of them living there. And, that grandpa with that long white beard, he's the one that was there.
Who's grandpa?
Well, he would be your great-great-grandpa or something like that.
Yours. Your grandpa?
No, not mine, Nick's.
Nick's grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he, what was I going to say about that?
He had a long white beard.
Yes, yes. And his wife's name was Margaret Theory. And well, at least I know that much. Yeah.
So there were a lot of people there.
Oh, yes. See, we didn't have anybody here, relatives, from our side. They stayed in Iowa, all of them.
Oh.
And that's where Grandpa came to visit us, my father's father. He'd come from there.
So
And-
you,
Tape change.
oh, okay.